Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Rangers Rundown special episode. Since I got a bit of flack from the boys for not doing one last week, so we've got double header this week. And the man of the moment, 300 game legend of the Croydon Rangers, the secretary does it all. Chris Whittaker, how are you, mate?
Good, Swiz. I think legend's a bit over the top. I appreciate the intro.
Mate, when you play 300 games, you hit legend status, I think. Well, I should use that loosely because I know there's a player that's about to hit 300 games, and I don't think people will be wanting me to say legend status with him. But yeah, it's a terrific achievement nonetheless, mate.
Yeah. A lot of wasted hours on a Saturday afternoon to get to 300.
100%. We'll cover more about in the career as we get into that. But while we're talking Rangers, there was a game midweek. So we have had the T20 kickoff, which is a round robin series played on Tuesday nights. For those who weren't aware, we're up against the Sub Districts Club first up. I know you were down there watching us play baseball, mate. What were your thoughts on the game?
It was interesting, actually. I must admit, I haven't really kept up with Sub District, but I don't know if it was Bayswater's first 11. There was a few drop catches on their side, which probably helped us out a bit. But Blake Smith batted a treat, hit a couple of really, really huge sixes, and really sort of held the innings together. Sugar, who I think captain's Ringwood's second 11, was also really good there, and then a little cameo at the end by Jack and Stick to get us up to what I thought was a really competitive total.
100%, mate. It's you're about that Bayswater lineup. I had to go home and look it up because I thought they were playing their second and third 11, but majority of their guys was first 11, and I think their import was from Premier Ones, might have played for Melbourne or Melbourne Uni or something like that. So they did have actually a really strong side. It was just that our side, really put it together with the batting, as you said. Blake and Tim's batting in that middle order was brilliant. Obviously the big hits, but then to continue to rotate the strike as well, important in T20s. I think everybody thinks just boundary galore, but Dave, every ball put that pressure on and rotate the strike. And then as you said, Jack and Sticks hitting in that last over. A couple of those sixes were huge. So to get up to that score of, was it 178? Obviously put a lot of pressure on the Bayswater guys. And then with the bowling, we've sort of never really troubled, and that they had a small partnership up the top. But the bowlers rotated, and you can see there, Tim's obviously got the 2 for 13. Bolt's bowled well for his 2 for 20, and Jack Blythe with the just the 4 for 10. It was I was nearly going to get it up, but I'll leave you alone, Jack. But there was a very ambitious appeal, I think, just before he started the rot there with taking the wickets that he was, but down on both knees, kind of begging the umpire for a wicket, and then the floodgates open for him. So I'll leave that off the footage, but it is there somewhere. But nonetheless, it was an awesome start by the lads.
Yeah, it was really impressive. The bowling was tight, and as you can see, obviously Jack and Tim bowled really well. Special mention to Lowy, who decided to roll out the mediums, which was interesting. I'd left by then, so I was just watching it on YouTube. But reverting back to the old school mediums, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was the same, mate. I was by then had got home, taking the dog home, and I was like, oh, here we go. Like, I was disappointed Blake Smith didn't get on for a bowl, although I thought there was the opportunity there. 9 down to end this streak of what was it, like 800 days now? But it was good to see Matty Lowe roll the arm over.
Yeah, clearly he's given up on the off spinners. So.
Fantastic. So well done to the lads there in the T20 tournament. Coming up, I think we'll see if we can find their next game, round 2, 5th of November. So it's actually next week.
Next Wednesday,
Next Wednesday up at Moolbark Heights. So I guess all going well. There's the I think everybody knows the unfortunate thing that's obviously happened with Fentry Gully Cricket Club, which obviously our club sends our condolences to everybody involved there. I guess they'll update us in real time with that, because we do obviously combine leagues with Fentry Gully for this T20 competition. So I'm sure information about that will come out. But once again, we send our sincere condolences to that club.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think it's probably a quick one to touch on because maybe obviously being secretary, it's a lot of different things. One of them, so looking after the safety insurance and all that for our players. It's probably a good chance to reflect on just our training, our net procedures and everything like that. And just making sure the players, once again, thinking about what, our safety when it does come to, training and warm-ups.
Yeah, look, I expect we'll hear from Cricket Victoria and Cricket Australia. They'll probably want to implement some sort of changes around the way nets are handled and the way things are run for juniors and potentially seniors. I know as a club, we've already had discussions this morning about ways we can try and make the nets safer. Simple things of maybe having a 10-metre exclusion zone for those not participating behind the nets, for balls that come out. As much as we do say keep it in the nets and, hit the ball on the ground. Unfortunately, being what we are, people like to be able to hit the ball hard and all that sort of stuff, and occasionally accidents do happen. So I expect there'll be some changes from the top, but then probably some club-specific changes that will come out in the coming days, I expect.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always hard with that because you are trying to train to hit sixes. It is part of the game, no different like, say, baseball, you're trying to hit home runs. So, you've got to try to, at times loft. But, it's hard to sort of balance that between the safety. But, as you said, more will come out that during the next few days. While we're talking about secretary, mate, obviously it's a huge role that you have done for a while now. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know actually the behind the scenes part of it and how you actually got involved with that with Rangers. You want to just talk a little bit about that, mate?
Yeah, so I reckon I was on committee maybe in 2010 or 2011. I think Brent Crosby was the president back then, and I came on just as like a general committee member. And then a year later, the secretary had stepped away, and he sort of rang me before the AGM and said, "Hey, can you step up and do this?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no worries." So I did secretary for a year. And then I think a year later, Bill Stafford ended up being our coach, who was our treasurer. And then he said, so next year, "Hey, we don't have a treasurer. Do you want to give it a crack?" I've got no accounting background. I can add. That was about all I could do. But I did that for another year as well. And then we got someone in who actually knew what they were doing with the facts and the figures. And then I think the next 4 or 5 years, Brent stepped away. Steve McInerney, Austin's dad, stepped in, and he was president for, I reckon it was about 6 months. And then his work situation changed. So Paul Trousdale took over halfway through the year. And then I think the next 5 or 6 years, he was the president. And I was the vice president. So there was a lot of work. Like when you're the secretary, the treasurer, there's a lot of work that has to happen week to week and day to day. Vice president's a little bit different. You sort of have a bit more of a, not quite a set role, but there's still a lot you're involved in, a lot of conversations, things of that nature. And then I had my first child in late 2016. So I made the decision then to step away from doing committee, just playing cricket, training, and then committee was probably a bit too much. I took nearly 7 or 8 years off, and then I got hit up by Bobby to come back. He said Mick needed a bit of help, and just maybe some people who've done it before, just to try and take some of the burden off him. He's very, very, very good at what he does, but he likes to be in control of what he does. So he's sometimes a bit of a battle to get things off him. But yeah, I did secretary last year, doing it again this year, and I'm slowly managing to wean him off some things, mostly around Play HQ stuff and a bit of the admin stuff that he would normally do. And surprisingly, he started letting me do a few little graphics here and there, which is what his favourite thing is to do. So I'm appreciative of that.
In my short time here, the back on the committee, yes, I can attest to that, mate. He does love his graphics, and I get it. I've been in both roles, secretary and president, and I understand how the presidents do like their control. It does help trying to have that good working relationship, but it is very easy as a president to want to control everything and not want to palm it off and stuff. But and it's a lot of office admin, kind of answering emails, making sure, I guess, we're up to date when all our procedures, policies, all that sort of behind the scenes stuff. Much easier, I guess, because, working in the office and doing that, but you still must enjoy being involved in that part of the club. Otherwise you probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, look, it's always harder at the start of the season because you're trying to get everything organised, sorting out grounds, putting in teams, liaising with the RDCA when they send through, circulars really late or the fixture hasn't come out a week before the first game and all that sort of stuff. Once the season starts, it does get a bit easier. There's still things you have to worry about, like the running of the club, but I would say that the hectic part is the couple of months leading into round one. I do enjoy it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. It does help that we've got a good committee, which always helps and steps up. And we've also got some sort of different thinkers and people who see things in a different light. So, sometimes it means we've got long meetings because there's different opinions or different perspectives on things. But I think that's what you need. Not everyone should always get along. And sometimes you have to sort of sit there and go, oh, my opinion, this is what I think, but it might not actually be the right opinion for the club. And I can see their point of view. So apart from the long nights and the long meetings, the rest of it's not too bad.
Yeah, and that's good. And the fact that your secretary is part of the Ones Premiership as well, mate, it's a bit of a satisfaction there. And watching obviously the transformation back of the club from back into the lower grades now as the hunted as the top club in the league.
Yeah, look, it's been a crazy. Well, I think my first year was 2003. So I've been at the club 22 years, and I've seen us, in Newey and all the way up to Chandler, and then all the way back to Newey, and now obviously all the way to the top of Chandler, it is crazy because we'd never played in Chandler. I think probably going back 15 years, we'd never played in Chandler as Croydon Rangers. Managed to get up there for a couple of years, and I think our best finish was maybe 5th or 6th when it was an 8-team comp, because I think it's fluctuated a few times. The fact that we've gone into Chandler and won it on the back of winning Newey and Wilkins, it's just ridiculous. Obviously, it's never happened before, so it's crazy to think about. But obviously, it's just a testament. We've got a good group of guys who all get along well and enjoy each other's company. They're led really well by Jack, captained well, coached well. And I think it does sort of point out that if you're in a group where you get along, you're good mates, you enjoy each other's company, things just sort of happen to fall into place. What's the old adage? You can have a team of champions or a champion team. And while we've got some awesome players, I think we've got a champion team, and that obviously has just been justified by the 3 premierships.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we are here to talk about also your playing career here, mate. So I've got it here: 300 games, 3,451 runs, 79 catches, 242 wickets. That's pretty impressive, mate. And I'm saying a lot of that would have been playing in higher grade cricket as well, and that not like myself here who just sort of trophy hunts down the lower grades. But no, it's a very impressive record.
Yeah, I've had a bit of a weird one. When I first came to the club, I didn't actually bowl. I was just a batsman, and I was playing 4s and 3s. And I think I got into the 2s back when I was 18 or 19 as a batsman. And then about the time I was 21, I couldn't make a run to save myself, and I nearly got dropped to the 5s. And one of the 4s captain, Steve Howard, who used to play at Rangers for a long time, just told Big E, no, you can't drop him. I'm going to bowl him this week. And I took a couple of wickets. And then since then, instead of being, a number 3 or number 4 bat who didn't really bowl, I became a bowler who, batted at 9 or 10. And that probably lasted, I reckon, maybe 15 or 16 years. I think it's probably maybe 6 or 7 years ago I stopped really bowling, mostly because I couldn't anymore. The body didn't really let me. I stopped bowling and mostly just played as a batsman. And then the last couple of years I played as a keeper sometimes with no skill or ability just because no one else would do it. So I've probably done the full gamut of what you can do as a cricketer.
Yeah, very good, mate. You're like myself, an original Ranger, and that not one of these ones that have come through the Hockeyers or the United. How did you get involved in the club originally?
So I was playing at Ringwood in the juniors. I played 14s, under 14s, and under 16s. And I was going to play seniors at Ringwood, but I was playing basketball at school in, I think it was maybe July, and I dislocated my knee. And obviously then couldn't, footy players obviously can come back from that in a couple of weeks, but when you're a 16-year-old kid, rehab takes a bit longer. So I couldn't actually fully come back to cricket till around Christmas time. And so I rang up Peter Casper, who used to be the junior coordinator at Ringwood, and said, hey, I'm ready to come back to play cricket. And he said, mate, don't try and come straight back into Ringwood. Go and play somewhere locally, just to have some fun, just to get back into it sort of thing. So he gave me the number for Bill Stafford and said, give him a call. We've got a bit of a relationship down there. Head down there and see how you go. So I gave Bill a call. Went down the training. Don't know why. I just remember Eddie Malin was at training. It was when we had the old net, so I rocked up and there was probably 20 or 30 blokes there. And I remember chatting to Ed. And there was 4 games left in the season, so I played 4 games in the 4s. And then, to be honest, I don't really think I thought about it. I just the next season, I say, yeah, cool. I'll go back to Croydon Rangers, and that was it. And since then, I haven't played anywhere else.
Yeah, love that, mate. And what year again was that state? 2003? Did you?
It was 2003. So the first full year I did was the year that we won Newey under I think Glenn Spencer was the captain, Norm Osborne was the coach. So I think that was 03, 04. So I played 4 games in January, February of 03.
Yeah.
And then I don't think I've missed more than a game or 2 since then.
I think that might have been my last season at Rangers too. So you've come in and I've obviously said, no, I don't want to borrow this guy and I'm out.
Shipping the night.
No, I love it, mate. Obviously, a lot of success through the way. 3 premierships, mate. Do you want to talk about the so it was 2 in the 2s and 1 in the 3s? Do you want to talk a little bit about that, mate?
Yeah, so the 3s one, I remember it was at Norwood against Croydon North, and Eddie Malin was the captain. I think that was the year Hainsey was the captain, but ended up with a broken arm. So Eddie took over. This was back when I didn't bowl, so I was batting at 3. Numchucker was opening the batting. Ivan Chepper was in the team as well as a bowler back when his run up was, if you can believe it, was even longer.
I'm glad you said a bowler, because if you're going to say a batsman, I was just going to end the pod there, mate.
Definitely a bowler. I think he was actually man of the series. I reckon he took 5, 5, and 3 in the 3 finals we had.
See, Chip, we do talk you up, mate. Look at that, mate.
He was good. I reckon if you ask him, I might not remember this properly, but if you ask him, I reckon he get the winning runs as well. All I do remember from that game is I got a first ball duck on the first day. I think we bowled them out for 110 or 120. Trove went out. I went out to bat, went to leave a ball, hit my elbow onto the stumps, and I was walking back for a first ball in a grand final, which is a bit flat at the time. But luckily we won. So, first ball duck, who cares? We won the grand final. So I think I was 18. So that must have been in about 2004. And then my next premiership was under Bobby in the seconds. So I think that was 2008, 2009. The 1s had just won Wilkins and gone up. So we were really trying to make sure our 2s could get a bit closer. I feel like this might have been C grade or B grade. So it was a bit of a jump going up into Chandler. So that one was a little bit different. The 3s, we finished 4th and weren't really expected to win. The 2s finished top, had not lost a game all year and were expected to win. We lost the first final. Just got over the line against Wonga Park, and then managed to beat 1 turn to south at Hughes Park in Croydon North. Again, don't really think I did a lot. Didn't make a lot with the bat. By now, I was a bowler though, so I don't know, bowled maybe 10 overs or something. Don't think I got a wicket, but we managed to win that one. Say quite easily. I think we made about 180, 190, and they probably 30 or 40 runs short in the end. So that one was a really nice one.
That was. I can actually attest. I actually went down and watched some of that game.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
A long time ago, but I do remember it to that. So, a fantastic win. But as you said, what I do recall is, I think I was talking to Andy Heaton about this, and he was like, it was kind of one of those ones that you expected to win, but then you get that, that shock sort of jolt in the arm, like, oh crap, don't want to go the old straight sets we've seen it's all the time with these sort of situations where you dominate throughout a season and then it only takes one game and then all of a sudden you're on the back foot, but still to get obviously the result.
And there's some guys who still play, Matt Paisley and a few others who are still around who were in that team, so it was a great team to be in. And then the last one I won was in the seconds. Brent Crosby was a captain of that one. I think that's Pasco Shield. I think that's what the stump has on it anyway. And that was the game we probably shouldn't have won. If I recall, we got bowled out for 104 against Kilsyth at Murrelbach. We were. I think we were really battling because I think they might have been at one stage they were like 2 for 80 or something along those lines, and really flying. And we sort of just kept chipping away, and then Vernon Abraham, who doesn't play at the club anymore, just came on and bowled a ridiculous spell. He took, I think it was 5 for 11 off off like 10 overs or something like that, including a hat trick, which we didn't even realise because he did it across 2 overs. But there was just wickets falling everywhere, and we couldn't believe it. And then I think we ended up bowling him out for 102. I remember the wicket of Austin McInerney getting the number 11 out LBW, and everyone going nuts, thinking, yep, we've won the grand final. And then their captain was a pain in the ass and said, no, the game's not over, we're going to put you back in, which really ruined the vibe of everyone getting all excited. And to be honest, it was boring as hell. I think we made like 1 for 60 off about 30 overs, and even their slips walked up to our batsman and said, just don't go out this over. He'll pull the stumps. We'll wrap it up. Just we don't want to be here anymore either. So that was the most unlikely victories. And yeah, to be honest, it's probably the most enjoyable as well, because it was just so unexpected.
Yep. No, I love that, mate. Obviously, I've played with a lot of great teammates. Put you on the spot here, mate, and that. Who's probably the best one you've played with?
In terms of ability, or
well, let's go both. Let's go both categories: ability and I guess the best character that you've played with. Because obviously we know there's always great banter and great mateship out there. So I'll let you have both.
Maybe a bit of a blast from the past. Like there's been some really good, like Dean Barber was a freak with bat, with ball, catching. He could do it all. But one who I always thought was really good was Tim Williamson. Played in that second 11 premiership back in the late 08, 09. Really, really quick, moved really well, bowled well, hit the ball ridiculously hard, and was very young as well. Actually played him last year. He's moved up to Yarra Glen, and he played like a one-off game against our thirds last round of the year, and he smoked us again with the bat. So obviously the ability's still there, but his ability was awesome. Like there's a lot of good guys I like to play with. In the last couple of years, I spent a lot of time playing with people like Rowan Schultes, which I always enjoy. As much as we'll probably give him a big head, I do really enjoy playing cricket with Gooch. Of my 300 games, we've probably played somewhere in the region of 150 or 170 games in the same team over the years. So you sort of build a good rapport with someone after that many Saturdays out in the field.
Yeah, you spent more weekends with him than your other half in your family, mate. So
yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of other guys. Like I, for an example, Amos Redfern, get along with really well. Had never played a game of cricket with him in 20 years until I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago. Our paths had never crossed, so that was enjoyable. But yeah, there's not many people at cricket who I don't enjoy having a game with. We've got a good club. As you say, there's not too many idiots or wankers, so it makes it that much more enjoyable.
It does. Do you have a favourite captain as well, mate?
Oh, favourite captain. It's a bit of a hard one because everyone's a bit different. Peasley will tell you he was the best captain I ever had. Probably won't agree with that though. I did actually enjoy playing under Rowan a lot because he would take the game seriously, but he wouldn't. He wasn't trying to play for sheep stations. But he also would think about, trying to get people involved, or if someone's not doing well, what can I do to try and get them into the game? Just a very calm person to have as captain.
Yep. And talking about players, anyone from obviously you've just mentioned one who's now playing at Yarra Glen, but any opposition players that stand out that you've gone, oh yeah, no, I would have loved their ability or over the time, mate?
Pretty much all of them. More fast, I would have liked that, or hit the ball really hard. I would have enjoyed that. I'm trying to think. I remember there's a guy for St Andrews, Matt Sutherland, who I could not get him out. He would always smoke me everywhere. Used to play a little bit in the ones, but I used to play him a lot in the twos. He would just don't know what it was. Couldn't get him out. And then I'm trying to think. Antanara from Kilsyth. I don't know. I reckon I've played him 5 times, and I reckon he's probably got me out 4 of those, including that grand final where I left one and got bowled by him. So for some reason, I don't know what it is, just his left arm always seems to get me out, even though he must be in his 50s now. But yeah, still always manages to get me out.
I played for them for 1 year, and I do remember him very well still back in training. Yeah, absolute gun. In regards to individual performance, mate, anything that comes to mind stands out, like any knock or I guess wicket that really, you go, that's something I'm really proud of.
Look, I've only made the 100, so it's probably gonna stand out. I got close one game in the thirds. We were playing at Lewis Park, and I made 97. And I remember I walked off, and Callum Richardson, who used to play at the club, his dad there, Billy, was watching, and he was a pommy, and he walked up and shook my hand and said, "Well batted, Wits. If you knew how to run between the wickets, you would have made 130." So that was good. I was a bit flat after being 3 short, and then hearing that was great. I reckon it's always good when you get like the gun batsman out. I've had times where I've got my mate out. Mates with Ben Stowe from One East South, and I've bowled him, and that's always exciting. I remember I got Adam White out when we played Warrandyte. That was good because he always used to make runs against Rangers. And then Grant Jordan, who I think played a couple of games for Victoria years and years ago, he captained or coached Lilydale for a while. I got him out, which was good. Even if he didn't do much else, you can say, "Oh well, I got a bloke out who played for Victoria." I know Eddie says that when he talks about Brendan Rickey, because obviously Brendan played for Victoria, and I think Eddie's got him twice. So that's his claim to fame, and I'll try and jump on the back of that.
Mate, I must admit I'm the same at the moment, but I'm on the opposite. There's a few guys that are now playing in like the Vic second 11 and stuff like that, which I played when they were like 13 and 14 when they first started seniors. I was looking over, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I knocked that kid. I knocked them over. Please, mate." But, let's excuse the fact that they were probably 12 years old or something. But it's always good.
Doesn't matter. The
scorebook says it doesn't say anything otherwise. So it's like when you snick a 4, and it's like, it's 4 in the book, mate.
That's what Moss has said to me for years. Yeah. Edge it through gully or first slipping keeper, it doesn't matter. In the book, it just says 4.
Yeah, I love that, mate. Any final thoughts, mate, before we wrap this up?
No, appreciate your time, Swiz. I've loved my time at the club. That's obviously why I'm still down there and, there every Thursday and there every Saturday. So, yeah, I just thank everyone who's been around the club and made it what it is.
No, I do appreciate it, mate, for coming on, giving us the time today. And as we said, congratulations on the 300 games. It's a really massive effort. And for you and the family, mate, to obviously giving up those weekends and spending as much time as you have down at Shilcock.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Wiz. Appreciate it.
No problems. Well, this has been another Rangers Rundown, and we'll be back next week. Thanks, guys.